Let's talk about what we really want.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to a little extra helping of what we really want. Hopefully, you have had a chance to listen to last week's episode featuring Crystal Day, talking about her work with women who struggle with compulsive or unwanted sexual behavior. It was called Understanding the Drivers. Crystal has been working for more than 15 years, coming out of her own story of healing and recovery and helping other women find the same thing. This little extra helping today is covering a part of the conversation that we couldn't fit. Well, we could have fit, but we decided to let it be a standalone because we didn't want it to get lost. It's so important. One of the things that Crystal offers through Living on Purpose, which is the coaching and counseling portion of what she does, is offer help for teenage and preteen girls, which is so important because to pay attention to this struggle before it has become addictive, it's just giving a lot more young women an opportunity to live a life free from this being just a weight that drags them down. So we wanted to let you hear about a 10-minute portion of the conversation that was not included last week. And here it is. Hope you enjoy it. You talk about childhood wounds, and that takes me to something else I wanted to ask you about. It was really exciting when I saw it on your website. You not only do coaching and offer resources for adult women, but you have help for teenage and even for preteen girls. And that was just really exciting for me. And Stevi, as I listened to you talk about your experiences at 8, and we have a daughter too whose porn exposure came at age 8. I'm also thankful, as somebody whose recovery started in 2009, that there's so much more available to help now than there used to be. And there's more help for parents to know how to engage these conversations with their kids than there used to be. But there's also a whole lot of parents who are trying to reinvent a wheel that they never saw modeled in their own homes. And so they need these resources. Oh, yeah. And sometimes, they're just not aware of what's out there. You offer help for preteen girls and teenage girls. Could you tell me a little bit about what that looks like? Because, obviously there's awareness that there's something that needs to have attention paid to it, but before it's gone too far, tell us how that got started and what that looks like.
Yeah. So typically with that age group, it's delicate because we can't just see them without parental consent.
Right.
So there's a need to have their parents involved. And so that's what kind of makes it special and unique is that we have, a mom, or even we've had dads, reach out to us. I just discovered that my daughter was sending pictures to a boy, or my daughter was, we found her history on her tablet. And so they're freaking out and they're online looking for support because they don't know how to have these conversations. They don't know what to do. And of course, most parents don't handle it well when they first, discover something like that. And I think it's important that there's opportunities for moderated conversation or to have somebody that's with you to walk you through that process. And so for the teens, we have our teens and preteens, we have from time to time virtual groups where they're meeting with other teen girls as part of that. And so they're meeting with a group curriculum, meeting together for that. But then we also have the parents meeting together and having them talk about what they're doing and how it's going and all of those things. But aside from that, it would be kind of the one-on-one coaching or counseling that these girls can experience too. And in that environment, nothing is secret to the parents. So it's very important to me. Like there are some things that we can keep sacred. There's some things that between coach and coachee or counselor and counselee can stay private. But for the most part, it's about helping them to communicate as parent and child so that they know what they're struggling with. They know what's been going on. They know that deeper work needs to be done. But even before all of that, one of my favorite things to do is from time to time, we do trainings on like teaching protecting your kids from technology and just helping parents to navigate not just, accountability or filtering's not enough. Like you can't just turn on filters and think your kids aren't going to be exposed to something or won't have someone reach out to them who's inappropriate or whatever, but about helping them navigate technology, apps and consoles. And that if it has internet on it, then there's porn attached to it. or there's risk attached to it. And so helping them to navigate that as well. It's not our primary service, like to help teens and young girls, but it is something that we offer as the need arises, as we have people come to us and ask for that support.
Mm-hmm. And, for the parents who are listening, who are like, oh, shoot, I freaked out when I caught my kid. I didn't handle that very well. I just want to extend some grace and maybe an invitation to some of the parents, because in a sense, of course, you didn't handle that well, because when you discover as a parent that your child is doing things that you didn't know they were doing, and you understand more than they do the vulnerability and the risk that they're taking, I mean, that creates danger, and your brain starts, firing off cortisol, and your amygdala starts going nuts. And so you do get very reactive. And so when you freak out about it, like that can have negative impact. But what if your intent is, I want to protect my child? And so that's a wonderful desire. It's a wonderful intention. What we need help with from people who have the ability to be objective is just to channel that, to channel that desire and that motivation into ways that are going to keep the door open and keep our kids feeling like we're a safe person to bring it to. Nobody's going to bat 1,000, and you don't have to. You just have to work on getting it right as much as you can. And when you get it wrong, let them know you get it wrong, because there's rupture, but there's also repair. And this is it's a terrible thing to be walking through as a family, but it's a wonderful thing that God can use to bring a family close together and heal.
Absolutely. And I think that there's no too young to start having these conversations. But there's a great resource out there called Defend Young Minds.
Yep.
And it's Kristen Jensen. She's written, Good Pictures, Bad Pictures. She just released one for girls.
Yep. I saw it.
Yeah. And so to help you have age-appropriate conversations with your children about pornography, so that it can become a thing where if they do find it, if they do stumble upon it, if somebody at school shows it to them,
right,
they know that we've had this conversation. Oh, I know about this. This is something that my parents warned me about. And I can then go tell them and I know what to do. Because you can tell them, come to me, tell me this happened. Like you're not going to get mad. I'm not going to I'm not going to shame you. Like I'm not going to judge you. Like you come to me and tell me, because we've already had this conversation. And so for kids, like when they find porn with that understanding, it's less shocking too. Because I think about what it did to my system at 10 years old. Like it rocked my world in a way that nothing since then has. And I was scared, and I was intrigued, and I was excited. Like there was such a rush of different emotions, and you're not thinking clearly because you can't. You're like you talked about before. Your frontal cortex is mush. Like there's nothing there yet.
Yeah,
you can't make good decisions.
Well, and even if your prefrontal cortex is as developed as it could possibly be for the age that you are, you're still the age that you are, and you still don't have the capacity to process the world that you will have later. And if these things are happening to you in great excess when you're young, when you are older, your capacity then is going to be diminished because of the ongoing impact of what happened when you were young.
And 100%. I think that this is such a simple thing, but I think it's huge, is we get asked, like, how do we help our 2 and 3-year-old? Well, you can't be talking very much at all about any of this. But just the very simple calling the body parts what they are is, I think, a game changer, because you are automatically introducing shame when you have nicknames for.
Or when you slap their hand away when they're touching themselves innocently.
Or ew, or anything like that. So we did not do that well when our kids were little, but just our oldest has a little boy, our grandson, he's 4, and they are doing a beautiful job about that. And I just chuckle inside because there's no shame there. He can just bump it and he just says it like, oh, I hurt my penis. And it's like I hurt my elbow. You might have to edit that. I don't know. But
it's what it's called.
Okay. But yeah.
I mean, I'm not ashamed to talk about my elbow.
Well, I said that to someone. I was like, what if we call the penis the elbow, would the elbow then be like this? Oh, I don't want to say elbow. I don't know.
That's like deep thoughts with Jack Handy.
I think it is sometimes. But anyway, I think that's a real simple, it's probably not easy, but a simple thing to do is just let's demystify these, our body parts.
And to your point, Stacey, in our communities as She Recovery, and now it's the same for men and men's communities, but like we see P and M written more than anything else, because for some reason they can't type pornography, they can't type masturbation, they can't type the things that they're doing, but they can do them.
The M word.
But there's so much the M word. There's just so much about words that have that really the enemy has taken hold of these words that are real and a real experience and a real part of your struggle. And if you can't say them, how are you going to stop doing it?
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
for some of them,
you can't even say it.
For some people, I know it's a shorthand, it's a part of a longer conversation. But if it's not that, if you're saying, oh, I abbreviate because I'm scared to say it, then just pay attention to that. And what would it be like to find a place where you could actually say the words and people aren't going to gasp and people are going to nod and just say, yep. And it is more impactful in a positive way than anybody understands until they experience it.
Well, and I would say that if you are somebody that's in a position where you would be talking about these things, if you say the words, I make up that people struggling may not come to you, but they sure would be more likely to come to that person than others because they're able to say these things. That's what it says to me anyway.
What a great conversation. It was such a good time with Crystal Day, and we're thankful for our friend Stevi for joining us. For parents who are listening, if this bonus episode has given you a little motivation to take a look at how you are communicating with your kids, just know that we have other episodes that have dealt with the same type of thing. If you go back to episode 21, that was with Kristen Miele, who has created a curriculum called Sex Ed Reclaimed, which is such a helpful resource, offering parents some really great guided conversations that are age appropriate to help give your kids a really healthy perspective on sex and sexuality. And then also more recently, episode 55 with Chris McKenna. So many helpful resources for parents who want to be as protective as they can while their kids are still under their care. You also heard Crystal mention Kristen Jensen, who is the author of Good Pictures, Bad Pictures book series. We're going to be having a conversation with Kristen in the very near future, and so we just would encourage you to be on the lookout for that. Just a lot of great resources out there for parents who want to offer more help, more conversation, more openness in helping their kids feel a safe place to discuss sexuality, the world around them, the things that they're exposed to. So thanks for listening in to this little extra helping with Crystal Day. Hope you have a great week. Be sure to join us next Tuesday for an all-new episode of What We Really Want. We'll see you then. We'd love to hear from you. If you have questions, feedback, topics you'd like to hear us talk about on the show, click the Send Us a Message link in the show notes of any episode.